Welcome back to the Connected Spirit Podcast. I'm Courtney Dawson, your host, and as always, I'm so grateful for you tuning in today. If you're an aspiring psychic medium or lightworker and you're looking to deepen your connection with the spirit world, you're in the right place. Today's episode is all about mastering the art of evidential mediumship specifically, and I'll be sharing tools and techniques to help you bring through clear, accurate evidence from the spirit world. If you've ever wondered how you can refine your connection, strengthen your validations, and really step into your power as an ethical evidential medium, this episode's for you. So grab a cup of tea, settle in, and let's dive in. All right, let's get into it. When we talk about evidential mediumship, we're talking about providing solid, undeniable evidence that you're really connecting with the spirit and that the spirit is communicating through you, and who you are describing is exactly who your recipient thinks it is. So evidential mediumship is all about the details, specific, personal details that only the spirit and your sitter would know. This is not information that would be generic or vague and that could fit for multiple people. But getting to that level of clarity does not just happen overnight. Even if you are somebody who has natural mediumship abilities like I did. I mean, I've been seeing the spirit world since I was 2. It wasn't until I began my formal training by getting a mentor, sitting in a development circle, that I really understood how spirit was communicating with me. So it did take time, and I'm just going to reiterate it doesn't happen overnight. It's going to take practice and patience. And I remember sitting in a mediumship development circle, and I sat in it for 7 years, and all of us literally sat in a circle in our chairs. And in the center, there was a little table, had a red light, Himalayan salt lamp on it, and then all the lights were off. But around the little circle table, there were stones, and each of them had principles that we were to kind of focus on to support us in our development. And some of them, I'm just going to share them with you, were surrender, patience, trust, believe. And those really are qualities that are so necessary when we're working with the world of spirit and with our mediumistic powers of awareness, because these are tools that are really going to be priceless for you as you grow. And we know that mediumship waxes and wanes. There's highs and lows. There's all different kinds of experiences. And so these are tools that I'm going to share with you that you can add to your spiritual toolkit. Okay. So today I'm going to walk you through some step-by-step techniques that I personally use and that I have helped my students build those deep, strong connections with the spirit world. Number 1, sitting in the power. I cannot emphasize enough the importance of sitting in the power. If you did nothing else for your development but sit in the power, you would still develop your mediumship. And let's talk about that. First, sitting in the power is this practice. It's a foundation of everything that you're going to do as a medium. It's not just about connecting with the world of spirit. It's really about deepening your relationship with your own soul. Now, Gordon Higginson, who is arguably probably one of the best mediums of the 20th century and perhaps maybe ever lived. And he had this incredible quote, and I'm just going to paraphrase it. And I'm just going to see if I can find it here in my book. And one sec here. So here's Gordon Higginson's quote, finding the spirit within. Before you can touch the spirit, you must find it within yourself. For all truth, for all knowledge, and all love must be found first within oneself. The spirit can never touch you and bring love and peace within your being and from your being until you've found it for yourself. And before you can build a picture of love from the spirit, you must learn to find it in this life. Always prepare yourself as a channel for spirit. Stand there with love radiating from you, then God will touch you. You will have been chosen then as a channel for the Great Spirit. Isn't that beautiful? And so really what he's talking about is the same thing we're talking about, that we need to be able to connect to our own spirit, which is actually why I was inspired by the world of spirit to name my podcast The Connected Spirit, because before we can connect psychically working with somebody or mediumistically with those in the world unseen, we have to recognize our own soul, our own mindset, our own energy, and to be able to be so in tune with it and have such a deep awareness that when we are present with other souls, discarnate or incarnate, we're able to decipher the energy and really understand at a more deeper, I'm going to say even a relatable level. Okay. So when you're sitting in the power, you're literally expanding, you're connecting to your own energy, and you're literally expanding your aura, and you're aligning your energy, and you're building that stamina that you need to be able to hold space for spirit communication. So our auric field is this electromagnetic field that surrounds the physical body. And in the resting state, it's typically about 4 to 6 inches away from the physical body. And it expands. Think of it as like a visualization. Think about it as like a balloon, right? When you're expansive, it's like blowing air into a balloon. And you know how balloons can get so wide and big, and then when you contract, all the air comes out and it deflates. Same thing. Okay. So when we are working with the world of spirit, we want to be in that expansive state, but to connect to our own spirit, we want to expand, we want to feel, because we connect to the essence of who we truly are, which is spirit first. We are in this beautiful space of just unconditional love. And why being in that state is so important is because it allows you to become an observer, view your thoughts, your limiting beliefs, any fears, traumas, wounds that need to be healed. It allows you to observe these things, become a witness for them, and then gain a different perspective and begin inner healing, which is good for you as the human, but it's also incredibly beneficial for you as the soul being having the human experience. And it enhances your mediumship abilities, because the more that you heal, the more that you're letting go of any of the filters that are within your mind or your beliefs. So that way, when spirit's communicating through you, it's more pure, if that makes sense. So sitting in the power, some people go, oh, I can't meditate. Honey, I'm neurodivergent. I know, I get it, right? But here's a simple way that you can get started. So set aside. You can use a timer like on your phone or on your microwave or your stove, and just set aside 10 minutes each day just to sit in the stillness. That's it. I'm not asking you or expecting your mind to shut off, because we're not meant to. Okay. Then I just want you to focus on the breath. Feel your energy expand. Again, think about that balloon expanding or an umbrella opening, right? And just allow yourself to be in the energy. Don't have any agendas. Don't put any pressure on yourself. Just you, your soul, and spirit. I promise, with time, with consistency, and I want to highlight that, consistency, this will become the anchor of your practice. And when we do something long enough, and it usually takes about 21 days, this is what science has told us, to help reprogram our mind and our body, it takes about 3 weeks. So if it doesn't happen overnight and you don't see anything, the first couple days, don't worry about it. Just keep showing up. I promise you, it's going to be incredible. Next, let's talk about asking specifics from spirit. Now, I know that there's some people that say you shouldn't ask spirit anything, just let them bring through what it's ever needed. But I'm going to tell you something though. I've never followed the rules when it's come to working with the world of spirit. They and I just have this unique relationship. So I've always wanted to bring through like dates. I am somebody who is a little OCD with calendars and dates and agendas and all of that. I have multiple, okay? And so for me, dates and times are really significant. And I said to Spirit, you guys, I would love to have like dates for birthdays, times of passing, anniversaries, significant milestones in my sitter's life or in the spirit world's life. And I just think that would be cool. Could we give it a go? And when I started doing this, I didn't really notice anything for maybe a week or so. And again, I am a professional medium, so I do readings regularly. But then I started seeing clairvoyantly like calendars in my mind's eye with the month and the date, and there'd be a circle around it. And at first, my clients could only understand the month. And so when they could only understand the month, then I knew that perhaps maybe a bit of my mind was interfering in the process, trying to figure it out instead of just surrendering. So I said, Spirit, awesome, cool, I love it. Can we just dial that in more? So over time now, and this has been about it's been over a year. Probably coming up to 2 years. And I said, let's do this. I just love it. Anyways, now I get dates. And for example, if I get, let's say the date February 1st, and my client goes, no, but it's close. What I've learned is that depending on the energy, if I'm not quite in the perfect state, which, let's face it, we're humans, it can be challenging, is I'll get the month and then the dates usually a couple days before, a couple days after. Well, that's good enough for me because it's been good enough for my clients, right? So you can ask them for specifics. So what I'm going to say to you is one thing I always teach my students is that the Spirit wants us to be as clear as possible. They want to provide detailed evidence, but sometimes we need to be direct in our communication with them. You can ask Spirit for names, you can ask them for places, you can ask them for dates, like I just mentioned. And I really want to encourage you to not be shy about requesting those finer details, because you're going to be absolutely surprised how often those specifics come through when you're confidently asking them. And everything that we do is, as mediums and in this work, needs to be done with a level of confidence and belief, because you can't experience what you don't believe. My mentor, Eileen Davies, who is an incredible British medium who lives in Scotland, has said this several times, and it always resonated with me. And it's true, because if you don't believe something, you are not open to the possibilities of how you can receive that. Now, here's a biggie. Trust what you receive, even if it seems small or insignificant. Often mediums second guess the information that we're given because we think it's too small or random or it's not important enough. But here's the thing, those seemingly small details are often the most profound for your sitter. Maybe it's a nickname, a favorite song, or even a random object like a watch, okay? Don't brush it off. Those small pieces are often the puzzle pieces that create the full picture for your sitter. And something that I learned very early on in my development was don't judge what you're getting. Just because it may not feel important to you doesn't mean that it is. That it is not, pardon me. When Spirit is giving you something, it's important to them, which means they feel it's important to their sitter. So pass along what you get, just making sure that you're always doing so in a loving, ethical way. One of the tools that's really helped me over the years in creating a system for how I deliver evidence, what do I mean by that? I mean, having a structure for how you present the information to your sitter. For example, when I begin to describe the Spirit's appearance or personality, what I'll do is I will look at them, I'll begin to describe it, but then I expand my awareness and I visualize my mind just expanding even bigger. And then what I do is I'll move on to a key piece of evidence, something that they're known for, like a hobby or a job, whatever they did for work. And then once you have that, you bring in a specific memory or shared experience that your sitter and the Spirit would both know. And what this does is this system kind of helps you stay grounded, which is really important, keeps your sitter engaged, and gives you a clear roadmap to follow during the reading. So when we are really building the picture of the story, the spirit world allows us to bring through things that are very meaningful. And I feel like personality traits and memories are so incredible because there's a lot of emotion behind it. If you're focused on just describing what you're seeing, there's a lack of emotion behind it where it just falls flat. Okay. So we want to bring in that emotional palette, if you will. And then just building on from this, evidential mediumship is not just about the facts. It is about the emotions, like I just touched on previously. I started my mediumship development journey within the spiritualist churches, and there were some mediums who were absolutely incredible. They would, especially on the platform, they would describe the spirits, that were coming through. And it was as if you could feel them in the room with us. And then there were some other mediums, they were so boring and so dry. I mean, it was like watching paint dry. It was painful. And I thought, you're communicating with somebody who's so-called dead. If that is not freaking exciting, I don't know what the hell is, right? The spirit world is communicating with us so much through our feelings, and your ability to tune into those emotions is going to elevate your readings really to a whole new level, because when you're bringing that emotional evidence, that emotional palette to it, you are touching the heart of your recipient, and that's where true healing and transformation takes place. Sometimes the strongest validations come from the feelings that you pick up on, like a deep sense of love or pride or even regret. Trust your emotional palette, please, just as much as you trust the evidence that's coming through. The emotions, if you sit with them, maybe a lot of mediums will say, oh, I've got so much emotion. What does that mean? We have emotions of sadness, grief, nervousness, anxiety, frustration, inner peace, calm, joy, excitement. Like there's all of these emotions, right? We want to be able to describe that. So to recap, sitting in the power, asking spirit for specifics, trusting the small details, and creating a system for delivering evidence and expanding your emotional palette are essential tools that are really going to help you master the art of evidential mediumship. You guys, it's really all about building that deep connection, not just with spirit, but yourself and your mediumship abilities. And remember, this journey takes time. Don't put pressure on yourself. Have patience, give yourself grace, and please, please remember to celebrate your progress along the way. I hope today's episode gave you some practical insights that you can start applying in your mediumship practice today. And hey, if this episode resonated with you, don't forget to subscribe and leave a review. It really helps the podcast grow and reach more people just like you. Until next time, keep connecting with spirit and trusting the journey. I'll see you in the next episode.